Oh, sweet relief. This is your weekly astrology forecast from Born Without Boundaries Tarot over here on Astrology Motivation. Please remember to look for the zodiac sign specific messages that come out on Born Without Boundaries Tarot throughout the week, Tuesday through Friday. This is a general reading for all zodiac signs. It's a general cosmos overview, the astrology overview for this week. And it's a bit of a relief. Why? There are a couple shifts that are happening that actually help us make up our minds, trim the fat, and focus on the stuff that we need to get done. The transit that I'm particularly the most happy about is when Mercury heads into Libra and the opposition to Neptune breaks, and it actually Mercury becomes opposite, goes in opposition to Jupiter, which is a much better opposition. So especially for those of you guys ruled by Mercury, your head's just going to feel like it's completely cleared. And the fact that the day before that happens is the new moon, where the sun and the moon are conjunct in Virgo, and they're also in a really energized aspect to Jupiter. In other words, it's almost going to be really clear how you're going to get your shit together, what you're going to want to get done, what you're going to want to focus on, especially when Mercury moves into Libra. Mercury in Libra doesn't tend to love to make up its mind. It tends to be very, very diplomatic. But in opposition to Jupiter, the best thing that it can do is use this time to sort of trim the fat and focus on what really needs to get done, especially when it comes to conversations that you may need to have, talking to people, call them, talk to them, get that stuff done, figure stuff out in partnership with other people, being able to do that and be very articulate when you do. Of course, earlier in the week, the sun moves into Virgo, which is going to also sort of clear up our mindsets and make us very focused on getting things done, working effectively, efficiently, working smart, not working hard, clear out our schedule, and for all the little things that are scattered around, really just clean out the clutter and be able to focus on what's really most important to us. And that new moon is going to help us really understand, okay, what is the most important to us? New moon in Virgo is a very nurturing, very loving energy of what is the most important to us and what do we want to put our time and energy and effort into. And emotionally, we'll be able to answer that question. And then our sun, the sun there, is going to help us be able to really be energized about it and be really excited about what we emotionally realize is most important to us. Because if we can't focus easily on it, it's because we don't care that much about it. So this week is really about being able to trim the fat, being able to really focus down, being able to really make decisions as to what is most valuable to us. There's a really interesting thing happening. The moon is conjunct to Venus right before it becomes conjunct the sun. And I think that really helps us to understand what we value the most before the moon will move into Virgo and have to choose what we put our attention onto, how we focus our energy and what we strategize around and what we plan on. So the universe is almost setting us up for being really, really being able to be really honest with ourselves about what matters the most, and then being able to effectively double down on making plans around what matters the most to us, and having a really clear mindset on doing that as Mercury moves into Libra. And like I said, it goes opposite Jupiter. We can really get things done. We can have a really clear mindset under this aspect, as long as you are able to trim the fat. And that sun moon conjunction for that new moon in Virgo really is going to help you do that, because Virgo is about working smart, not working hard. And it's about working consistently, steadily, day by day, little by little, not rushing yourselves, planning out strategically, and you know, kind of getting into a comfortable pattern like that. And I actually love it, because it's kind of a calming energy after being in the fog of Mercury opposite Neptune for so long. It's just going to really kind of like calm us down and help us clarify what we need to focus on. Another huge aspect that we have all week and for the next 7 months is Mars has entered Gemini. It entered Gemini right before this week began. It entered Gemini on Saturday. This week goes from Sunday through next Saturday, this weekly forecast. So now we have Mercury in Gemini, and it always, the reason why this week is so impactful is because you have this transit of when planets change signs. It's almost like when a pebble first strikes a pond. You get the biggest wave. You get the most energy of this energy shift. So Mars has just moved into Gemini. And so it's sending out the shock waves of what? What does Mars and Gemini mean? Well, we want to know new things. We want to explore new things. Our mind is going to get bored. It's sick of the old things. It doesn't, if it's not being used, if it's not being able to be clever, it's going to be bored, and it's going to like want to move on. Also, communications, being able to speak, being able to talk to people, also being able to be clever, being able to think, being curious about things. All of this is going to have a huge kind of like, there's just going to be a huge bam, almost our brain is kind of shaken awake. And then as Mercury moves into Libra and Mars and Mercury are still trine, you get this really clever push forward of talking and communicating with people, and who is really interesting to us, and who really excites us, and who really appeals to us. If there's any connections or friendships or even sort of romantic relationships that we start now, ultimately it's going to be based on intellect, on who interests us, who appeals to our mind, who is exciting in terms of who can offer us new, interesting ideas. It's not just going to be as simple as some base attraction. It's going to be who's going to take us long term, as in what's going to really turn us on is that intellectual challenge, that intellectual inspiration. I think it's really cool that this is happening right as school begins for so many people, because it's going to make that transition a hell of a lot easier, because we're so much more academically inclined now, with Mercury and Mars being in that trine, and so much energy going into Virgo. It's just, and Mercury finally being liberated from Neptune and being trine to Jupiter, so we can really be kind of have a clear mindset again, and know what to focus on, and be able to focus on things. So it's like, finally our freaking mind is clear. We can make clear decisions, which means we can make clear, kind of like clear plans, or clear strategies for, you know, where we want to go and what is most important to us. There's that, once again, the sun shifting into Virgo, which is a huge change for us, which also helps us to really double down on clarifying what's important and what's not. Virgos are very good at cutting out the stuff that, Virgo energy is very good at clearing out the stuff that doesn't really matter, and not focusing on it and letting it just drift away and not thinking about it. If it's not important, it will fall to the wayside. It'll fall off our schedule. So this is also going to be just a really nice, kind of like clarifying energy this week. After a bunch of craziness that was happening last week, I think it's going to be a really nice kind of, you know, being able to breathe and finally know what's important to us to plant for the next 6 months, because that's what we do when new moons come up. On Thursday, we have this new moon, which is in a really great aspect. It's aspected to Jupiter. So it's going to really help us think, well, what seeds do we need to plant? And what do we really want to work on? And how are we going to get this done? Because new moons are all about welcoming in over the next 6 months, what are you going to welcome in? And we'll be able to really focus on what's important to us. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know how this energy is impacting you. Please remember to leave the comments below and let me know what clarity you have gotten, and what has become sort of simpler for you, what has fallen away, and like it'll almost feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I even cared about that. I just don't even give a shit about it anymore. This is what I'm gonna focus on, and this is pretty much it. And I'd love to know what conclusions you've come to. Guys, I am so happy for all your support. Thank you so much. Please remember to like this video and share it on your social media platforms. Subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell so that you can participate in the live daily tarot reading chats that I have Monday through Friday. You have to ring that notification bell because I don't go live at a regular time over here, so you have to be subscribed to get those notifications. And as for the rest of the week, guys, check me out on Born Without Boundaries Tarot, because I will see you guys in the videos. Love you. Bye.